For the second week in a row, the UFC returns to the Apex for another UFC Vegas event. This week, headlined by a middleweight clash between Roman Dolidze and the streaking Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, who's looking to secure his 8th straight victory in a row and try to stop the 3-fight winning streak of Roman Dolidze. The co-main event, I believe, will be in the flyweight division, and it's a matchup between former title challenger Steve Erceg taking on short notice Ode Osbourne after Hyun-Sung Park and Alex Perez were both forced to pull out of their matchups for various reasons, and we get an average Vegas Apex card. Last week, it was kind of average, right? But it did deliver on a couple of bangers. I don't see as many bangers on this matchup. That could be, underrated bangers, but you never know. Maybe they're going to be buoyed by the last event. Reminder, this is the quick picks version of the UFC Vegas 109 breakdowns. I dropped the full card breakdown earlier this week in the form of the MMA Lockcast. You guys can find that either in the link in the description below or check the channel, and you guys can find it where I went pretty much an entire hour on this card breaking it down for you guys. All right, hope you're laced up and ready to go because we're off and running with the first fight of the night between Cody Brundage and Eric McConico. This fight was put together pretty much on fight week, and both guys will be weighing in at 205 pounds. I think the short notice nature of this matchup favors Cody Brundage, and that will allow him to make this fight chaotic from jump and eventually find that knockout under 1.5 rounds. Next up, we got Gabriela Fernandez going up against Yulia Stoliarenko. I think the striking advantage and physicality of Fernandez will allow her to keep this fight standing, or she'll be able to pick apart Stoliarenko from distance and eventually line up a head kick to produce a knockout victory. Next up, we got Earl Schmedic coming in at minus 450 going up against Gilbert Urbina. I'm not a big fan of Medic at chalk, but this is a very winnable fight for him and one that I expect to be violent from jump. Urbina might look to take this slow route here and stay at distance, but I think Medic will consistently crash the pocket enough to provide those car crashes that could eventually result in a finish, which is leading me to put Medic by knockout as my prediction. Next up, we got Jocelyn Edwards going up against Priscilla Cachoeira. We are seeing the confidence in Edwards starting to grow over her last couple fights where she's produced back-to-back finishes, and I think that trend continues this weekend as she takes a grapple-heavy approach to stay away from the berserker striking style of Cachoeira, and I think that will eventually lead to a Edwards submission victory under 2.5 rounds. Next up, we got Elijah Smith going up against Toshiomi Kazama. High-level BJJ black belt is the Japanese fighter Kazama, but I think he struggles in terms of getting fights to the ground, and he'll struggle even more here trying to do that against Elijah Smith. Look for Smith to utilize good movement, speed, and striking, and eventually lining up a big knockout victory to earn that win over Kazama. Next up, we got Julius Walker going up against Rafael Cerqueira. I tried to give Cerqueira the benefit of the doubt going into his Bukauskas fight, but it's clear that he is not the best at taking shots, and I think Julius Walker can show that off pretty quickly again. I think Walker utilizes his athleticism, speed, and power, and he'll land some big shots to eventually get Cerqueira out of there in the first round. Next up, we got Eric Anders going up against Christian Leroy Duncan. I think that this is a matchup where the speed and power of Duncan will be too much for Eric Anders, who's starting to slow down a little bit. And the fact that he got hurt badly by Weidman in his last fight leads me to believe that Duncan can replicate that. And I think it's just a matter of time before he lands a clean shot that puts Anders down and out. Give me Leroy Duncan by knockout. Next up, we got Miles Johns going up against Gene Matsumoto. Very fun bantamweight fight here, but I'm a big fan of Matsumoto, and I think he can replicate what Philippe Lima was able to do to Miles Johns last time around. Utilize his Muay Thai heavy approach, maybe mix in some takedowns, but I think for the most part, Matsumoto will chip away at the lead leg of Johns with his Muay Thai and eventually win this fight on the scorecards. Next up, we got Andre Touchy Fili going up against Christian Rodriguez. I'm a big C-Rod fan, but I think he's being overappreciated at this point in time, which has made him a chalky favorite. There has been some love coming in on Fili, and I wonder how much more of it will come during fight week or at the latter half of fight week. But if we can get Rodriguez closer to that minus 180 range, I'd be happy to pull the trigger there, as I think he is the technically superior fighter. It's just the size advantage of Rodriguez constantly fighting at 145 pounds when he should be down at 135 that gives me some cause for concern. But I think it's just a matter of time before Rodriguez finds a submission opportunity and he forces the tap against Fili. Next up, we got Yasmin Lucindo going up against Angela Hill. We've seen Lucindo struggle when she can't get takedowns or be the one on top, and we've seen enough defensive improvements from Hill in the grappling realm that I think she can either stop the takedowns, get back to her feet a lot quicker than a lot of people have been able to against Lucindo, and then from there she should be able to use her striking advantage to outweigh the control of Lucindo, and I think that will lead to Hill winning this fight on the scorecards by landing more damage. Co-main event now, where we got flyweights Steve Erceg and Ode Osbourne clashing, and I believe that Erceg is the better fighter here. I think his Muay Thai is superior to Osbourne's, and I think his BJJ black belt can definitely prove him well should he decide to take this fight to the ground. But you cannot overlook the speed and power that Osbourne showed in his last matchup against Luis Garul, putting out the undefeated fighter, and I think that's a little bit of a concern from Erceg, as we've seen him get touched and dropped in the past. But I think that this is a matchup where he'll really dial it in, hoping to avoid a 4-fight losing streak, and I think he'll go out there, put together a good enough all-around MMA game, and win this fight on the scorecards. And that brings us to our main event now, where Roman Dolidze takes on Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. Dolidze trying to notch his 4th straight victory, while Hernandez is looking for his 8th. And I think that we'll see Hernandez be successful in doing so. Look for him to utilize his classic smothering grappling game and really putting it on Dolidze. And as long as he can eat a few big shots early that are definitely going to land from Dolidze, I think it's just a matter of time before Hernandez breaks Dolidze and eventually leads to a round 4 or 5 finish. I'm going to say Hernandez by submission. There you guys go. Quick picks for UFC Vegas 109. We'll be back tomorrow with the Locky Two-Step / Locky Trinity parlay, and then Friday for Prop Drop. Something that I did forget to mention earlier this week on the full card breakdown, I said there's only 2 regional events that I'll be covering on the Patreon page. I lied. I apologize, because there was a switching of date that I missed for KSW, as I believe KSW 109 or KSW 110, whatever the number is, that's actually going down this Saturday as well. So there's 3 events taking place before the UFC card: Octagon, KSW, and PFL Africa. I won't have any videos for those on the YouTube channel, but I will have them broken down and official tracked plays for all of those events on the MMA LOTN Patreon page. Make sure you guys check the link in the description below. Otherwise, I'll see you guys tomorrow for the Locky Two-Step, Locky Trinity free parlay. Peace.